everybody, it is me, Sacred G, and welcome back to another video. And today, guys, we're going to talk about my second favorite Fallout game and ways you can roleplay in that. And obviously, this is about New Vegas. So, without further ado, here we go. And again, before I get into the video, these are not have-to plays. If you don't want to play this way, you want to take from it a little bit and apply it to your own and do it differently, that is totally fine. These are not like concrete ways to roleplay in Fallout New Vegas. And also, I would love for you guys to leave down in the comments what your characters are. I would love to read them, and maybe they'll help inspire me and apply your guys' rule of roleplaying to my rule of roleplaying. So without further ado, let's get started. First thing I do recommend, and I know this is going to sound, this is the exact same thing I said in Fallout 4, it will easily apply to this game as well. Think out your characters. If you've played the game once before, you kind of got everything down, you know what all the special stats do, think out the character. It is a Western setting, Western apocalypse setting, so if you wanted to, you can think out a build for a cowboy character, and also customizing their appearance helps a lot, in my own opinion. I always think of how this character is going to look, to see if the look will fit the name. Usually, most of the time it does. And just think through it. Like, what is your character going to be doing specifically as well? So, without further ado, let's move on. There's not much I can say on this one. How do they build? How do they view the factions? Do they hate the NCR but love the Legion? Or do they absolutely hate the Legion and love the NCR? If you hate the NCR, let's say, do you attack on sight? Do you steal from them? Or better yet, do you just leave them the fuck alone and do everything against what the NCR stands for, or against, you know, pretty much borderline enemy of the NCR without even needing to kill them? So how do they actually view the factions in the game, and also other people? What do they think of the person you're talking to? Do you think that Jason Nash from Prim is an old fuck who is a piece of shit, and your character just, you know, as they're talking, he's just thinking, hey man, I'm thinking of killing this dude, you know, or something like that. Like, think for your character is pretty much what I'm saying. Like, have your character develop, like, viewpoints on particular people or factions in the game. How do they interact with the world? For an example, okay, what I mean by this is I have a character, I have actually two that do this at the moment. I have a character who enjoys herself at the bar. She's a whiskey and scotch addict, and I have her stop at the bar. I even have her drink, even if I collected the whiskey without purchasing it from the bar or the establishment that I have her at. I have her sit at the bar and start drinking. I'm also using a mod called Animated Consumables, which helps with that in many ways. What I'm getting at, how does your character go about the world? Do they just, I don't know, are they too giddy and they can't sit down and take a breather? Or do you allow your characters to take breathers, and if they have vices, do you allow them to indulge in vices? You know, gambling in the game is one of those things you could do, and that can help a character if they are a gambling type of character. Going to these establishments like bars / hotels or motels help out quite a bit. You know, you just came back from a long-ass little walk or jog across the Mojave Desert to do a job, and your character is just deadbeat tired. And not even in, like, hardcore mode you need to do this stuff. Like, have them relax, enjoy themselves, engage with the world. Also, another thing I'd like to add is that, what is their fucking weird little quirks? So, for an example, I also have the same character who is a whiskey and scotch addict, be a huge fan of sugar bombs, doesn't even fucking eat them, is looking to collect them. I even had her steal a box from somebody's house that was just sitting on the counter, and I had her swipe that shit. Also, for the same thing with whiskey and scotch, she does tend to steal things, and the funny thing about that is she's overall a good character, right? She's a good person at heart when she helps people, which is what she wants to do overall. But she does tend to have a habit of stealing things, you know, things that she needs, like, you know, whiskey, scotch, since she's addicted to those, and, you know, is also kind of a big fan of sugar bombs and will do whatever it takes, not necessarily whatever it takes, but literally go to the lengths of stealing is the highest length she'd go to, but she will steal your box of sugar bombs. And so, like, what are, like, your weird little quirks? You can have a weird little quirk of, like, you drinking during a fight, you know, having the habit of your character blow the corpses' heads off after you've killed them. Like, you can have a bunch of weird little quirks, you know, like doing drugs before you even get in a fight or during a fight, being rude, or, well, doing, like, or pickpocketing, actually. You can have a character who just has the habit of pickpocketing people. They could be really terrible at it, but it's something that they learned to do, and they did it once, and they're like, oh my god, I'm good at it, even though they're not. And you can have them get into shit, like, get into trouble, like, quite a bit. It's pretty fun, actually. Also kind of wanted to include this, just as a little one, since the game does have two different drink types, the Sunset Sarsaparilla and Nuka-Cola, you can have a character hate Nuka-Cola and say, fuck Nuka-Cola, Sarsaparilla is where it's at, or vice versa. And I think that is pretty cool that you could do that, because also the same thing with my other character. She hates Nuka-Cola, loves Sunset Sarsaparilla, and my other character likes Nuka-Cola and just cannot stand Sunset Sarsaparilla. Believe it or not, this one may be boring to some, but I actually do find enjoyment and immersion out of this, is actually walking from time to time. I'm not saying walking from place to place every single time. I mean, like, every, or occasionally, even if it's a long stretch of road, just walk and enjoy the view. For me, it's immersive because it's just doesn't make sense for your character to continuously sprint throughout the entire wasteland without actually getting tired and doing it infinitely. So walking kind of helps, and especially in dungeons, like, just walk, just try it out. Walking is very immersive in my opinion, since other characters seem to do it, so why not have your character blend in with the NPCs. Also, definitely the most important thing is, of course, creating a character backstory. I think this plays a huge role in any RPG, to be honest. And being able to create a backstory that links up to why you became a courier is just one of the most coolest things in this game that I personally love. I know a lot of other people do, but I'm talking about for me personally. I like that aspect of this game, and you can make any backstory. So to give an example, I have a character who, the second character I made, was affiliated with gangs, wanted to get out of that, then he got kidnapped and then shot in the head and survived, which caused him to mentally go back to that stage of his life, and now he's out for revenge for Benny, and he will do anything to help gangs in the Mojave Desert. And the other first character, Sally Sugar Pants, I believe is what I named her, she wanted to go find sugar bombs, which is what she was set out to do, and she thought being a courier, you know, would help out with that. Well, events tended to happen, and not really, actually, it didn't really work out the way she wanted it to, which is funny to me. Yeah, but backstories, dude, helps out. Like, they seriously do. They help you, like, it helps your character make sense, like, you know, like I said earlier in the beginning, like, the skills and the perks and traits even actually play a huge ass role in your ability to roleplay in this game. Also, another little tip, I actually heard this from somewhere else. Don't remember the YouTuber who said this, but this actually makes sense, and I do this myself. Don't do quests that don't make sense for your character. At least I personally would say you shouldn't do that. Again, you don't have to. The reason I say that is because you can play this game however the fuck you want. And I just tend to avoid certain types of quests that don't make sense for the character, and I can either start them and then leave them and just never return, or, you know, if it makes sense, obviously complete that quest line. Like, don't do everything all at once in this game, because this game actually kind of restricts you to a degree, so doing quests that make sense for your character is also a big, huge plus in the immersion field. Factions also help play a big role, because you can actually make characters kind of based off that faction. You could say you had an NCR soldier who retired just to go do some currying a little bit, you know, taking things back and forth to people, or delivering other people's mail. Well, the events in the game that lead up to the beginning in Doc Mitchell's office, or doctor's office, whatever you want to call it, cause them to want to rejoin after hearing another battle in Hoover Dam, which you can hear literally out after you walk out of Doc Mitchell's office. So you could say that, hey, look, this character's going back to the military, man. We're back into the NCR. And the same thing with the Legion. You can make like characters specifically based off the factions, or that would make sense to join each faction. They don't have to particularly be based like literally on the faction, like they have to be an NCR soldier. You can say that, you know, they were a criminal, but then, you know, the way the NCR is handling the Mojave, to your character's opinion, is like what makes them want to join. So factions do play a big part in role-playing as well, since you can make characters based off them. Also, this one's just a little fun one too. I should have thrown this in with the quirky ones, but I'm just going to throw it in as its own separate point. What enemy types does your character not want to fight? Are they afraid of geckos? Do they run away and scream and cry and shit themselves upon seeing a gecko? Or are they not afraid of geckos? Or are they not afraid of deathclaws? And every time they see a deathclaw, they run up and try to kill the motherfucker. What types of enemies does your character not fuck with? You could literally avoid, in my own opinion, I think, if you have a high enough sneak, you can avoid pretty much all human enemy types, and specifically have your character only kill wildlife, unless, you know, well, to be honest, I don't think you can. But you could say that it's out of self-defense or something like that. So there's just wanted to throw that one in there as well. What types of enemies do they not fuck with? Are they scared of Nightkin? Are they scared of super mutants? It's all up to you and your own imagination. Also, the apparel or the armors in the game can speak for your character as well. If you're playing as a scavenger, usually scavenger-based clothing or armor or apparel, whatever you want to call it, can help define your character as well. And since there are faction-based armor types that will tell you that once you put on the armor, it will tell you that you're either associated with the Powder Gangers or NCR or Legion. You do put on the faction armor that you're pretty much disguised, technically, unless you're playing as like a legionnaire, technically disguised, and you won't get attacked by the faction, but you can possibly get attacked by others depending on the faction armor that you wear, which will add a whole other challenge to the game. And hopefully, you know, like I said earlier, with the whole faction thing and you being able to make characters based off the factions, it can help with role-playing immensely too. And not even just faction armor too. I would say that even like dresses, if you want to play as like a spy or something like that, it's all in the imagination. Just do whatever makes your character look awesome. Last but not least, companions. Companions, as I said in the Fallout 4 video, also speak a role in this video. Does your character want to lone wolf it and just hook it all the way to the strip or play throughout the entire playthrough, have no one help them in a fight? They're not going to make any friends, and etc, etc, etc. You know, like for example, Cass is a pretty good companion for like cowboy, cowgirl based characters. You know, of course, Veronica being a good companion for like Brotherhood-esque characters, and Boone being a pretty damn good companion for NCR, I think, sniper-based characters, or just NCR characters, period. And you got fucking Lily, who's good for blunted weapon characters, and also stealth characters, since she is stealth herself. And of course you got Rex. Who can't go without Rex? For characters that just want to roam around with just a dog and no one's bullshit. Up to you. You know, companions, the characters you meet in the game, can indeed speak for your character and the type of character they are. So, without further, I mean, actually, to be honest, the Sally Sugarpants character, I'm trying to get her to be companions with Cass, because they're both drunks essentially, so it would make sense. So Cass isn't just a good companion for those types of characters. Also, alcoholics as well, since she does tend to drink quite a bit, and even gives you a recipe for making moonshine. Alright, there you have it. So these aren't going to be like numbered from ones I recommend doing. These aren't going to be even numbered at all. They're just going to be point by point, as the last video. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If there was something that you think I missed, or if you have any ideas yourself, as I said in the beginning, leave that down in the comment section below. I would love to read your guys' characters' backstories, and I want to thank you guys for the amount of support, you know, through my voice. Thank you guys so much. It is fucking appreciated. Anyways, without further ado, this is Sacred G. Hope to see you guys in the next one. Stay safe.